Okay, so today we're going to be going over how to find an expression mod a small number. We have 23,464 multiplied by 28,253 plus 37,562 all to the power of 16 modulo 5. So when we get an expression like this, what we're able to do is we're able to take all the terms inside of our power and put them all of mod 5. So we'll get to 23,464 modulo 5 multiplied by 28,253 modulo 5 plus 37,562 modulo 5, all to the power of 16 modulo 5. So now what we get here is if we take our 23,464 modulo 5, it will give us 4 multiplied by 3 plus 2 to the power of 16 modulo 5, which is now a lot easier to work with because we could just take our term, put it to the power of 16. The number will now be small enough to put into a calculator, as we will get this expression here, which equals to 1. So now we have our second question, which is 34,534 multiplied by 252,050 plus 293,848 all to the power of 27 modulo 5. So again, what we're able to do is when we have an expression like this, we can take all our parts in the brackets and take them modulo 5 so that we can get smaller numbers in order to put it into a calculator. So now this will give us a much easier expression of 4 multiplied by 0 plus 3 to the power of 27 modulo 5, which will just become 3 to the power of 27 modulo 5, since 4 times 0 is 0. And since this number is still too big, we're able to split up our exponent here to make this 3 to the power of 9 all to the power of 3, just so that it's small enough for our calculator, and take that modulo 5, which will be 19,683 to the power of 3 modulo 5, which ends up being 3 to the power of 3 modulo 5, which is equal to 2. And now we have a question where we don't only have one bracket, we're subtracting it by another number as well. Because we'll have 431 multiplied by 263 plus 1,236 all to the power of 6 minus 248 to the power of 5 modulo 74. So our first step again will be taking 431 and doing it modulo 74 multiplied by 263 modulo 74 plus 1,236 modulo 74 all to the power of 6 minus 248 modulo 74 all to the power of 5. And this entire equation will be modulo 74. So next up, once this simplifies by doing our modulos, we get 61 multiplied by 41 plus 52 to the power of 6 minus 26 to the power of 5 modulo 74. And now what we can do is have our term inside of the bracket. We could simplify the inside of our bracket by doing 61 times 41 plus 52 to make this a little bit easier to work with. We get 2,553 to the power of 6 minus 26 to the power of 5 modulo 74. And now we'll take 2,553 and take a modulo 74, which will give us 37 to the power of 6 minus 26 to the power of 5 modulo 74. And then, since this exponent is still going to be too big, we're able to split it up again. So this will be 37 to the power of 3 to the power of 2 minus, and then since 26 to the power of 5 is small enough to do it with modulo 74, it'll be minus 10 modulo 74. And then finally 37 to the power of 3 modulo 74 just gives us 37 again, but this time it'll be squared because the squared outside the bracket, minus 10 modulo 74. And since this is small enough to put in a calculator, this will give us 37 minus 10 modulo 74, which will be equal to 27 modulo 74. And now our final topic is the modulo of a negative number. So with the modulo of a negative number, what we can do here is we can just take out our -1 and then just take the modulo of our numbers, our two numbers, which will be 644,654 modulo 765, which will give us -1 multiplied by 524. So this will give us -524. But now, in order to get our final answer, what we need to do is, if we end up with a negative answer, you take your negative answer and add whatever your dividend is, or whatever you're taking the modulo of. So this will be plus 765, which will give you your final answer of 241.